My Mile called me a burden and threw me out during my pregnancy. Now she's furious I refuse to let her see her grandson. 28F, just a regular woman who works a standard office job. Never imagined I'd be locked in this tense, high-stakes standoff with my own mother-in-law. At first glance, you'd think we had a decent family dynamic. My husband's family lived just a short drive away, and early on his mother acted nice enough, baking cookies at Christmas, hugging me at birthdays. But the moment I got pregnant, everything took a sudden, ugly turn. I remember it was a Sunday morning. I was about 5 months pregnant. My husband had left for a short work trip, and I stayed at my in-laws' place temporarily because our apartment lease had ended early. We were saving to buy a small house, so the plan was to stay under their roof a few months until closing on our new place. It sounded simple and mutually beneficial. But that morning, I was in the kitchen, rubbing my belly absent-mindedly while making tea, when my mother-in-law approached. "You know," she said, voice tight, "you've been lazing around here an awful lot." I blinked, confused. I worked remotely at the time due to my pregnancy complications. I contributed to groceries. I kept my space tidy. "I'm not just," I began, but she cut me off. "Ever since you got pregnant, everything is about your needs," she said, each word sharper than the last. "I never asked for this arrangement. You and my son decided to burden us." The word burden stung. We'd offered to pay rent. She insisted no. Now she was using it against me. I tried to reason. "We'll be out soon. We're closing on the house next month." She waved a dismissive hand. "No, I'm done with you taking advantage of us. Pregnant or not, get out." My heart jolted. She was throwing me out? Mid-pregnancy? I called my husband, but he was on a plane. I had nowhere to go on such short notice. When I hesitated, she lost her temper and started tossing my things into a duffel bag, glaring as if I'd invaded her perfect world. I ended up scrambling to get a motel room for the week, scraping into our savings. When my husband returned, he was livid. He confronted her, demanded an explanation. She wept crocodile tears, pretending I had been the ungrateful one. He and I moved into a cheap rental for a few months until we finally closed on our modest home. She never apologized, not even after our son was born. Fast forward to now. My child is 6 months old, a thriving baby boy. Out of the blue, my mother-in-law decided she wanted to be a grandmother. She started hounding us for visits, acting sweet on the phone, sending texts like nothing had happened. I refused. I remembered her throwing me out when I was most vulnerable. My husband supported me. He'd seen her cruelty firsthand. Still, her persistence grew, and suddenly, she was livid at my refusal, calling me vindictive, threatening to take legal steps to see her grandson. We tried to ignore her at first. I'd block her number, and she'd call from another phone. She'd leave voicemails declaring she had a right to see the baby. My husband told her bluntly, "You threw my wife out when she was pregnant, and now you think you can waltz back in?" She'd scream back that I had brainwashed him, that I was making him reject his own family. To escalate matters, she began spreading rumors. She told relatives and neighbors that I was unfit, that I was a neglectful mother who refused family bonding. Some distant family members called us concerned. My husband angrily explained the truth, but the damage was done. Her words planted doubt. I realized quickly that I had to be careful. If I gave her an opening, she might try something drastic. Sure enough, within weeks, we got an unexpected visit from Child Protective Services. A well-dressed worker stood on our porch, politely asking to come inside. My heart sank. I suspected who was behind it. We hadn't done anything wrong, but these visits are serious. We let them in, show them our home. Clean, safe, baby essentials neatly organized. The worker asked a few questions, seemed satisfied, and left. Later, I called the agency's main line, and the supervisor confirmed an anonymous tip alleging neglect. The tip obviously came from my mother-in-law. My husband confronted her over the phone, yelling, "You called CPS on us? That's your grandchild." She feigned innocence, then accused me again of manipulation. Her voice was laced with entitlement. If you won't let me see him willingly, I have to ensure he's safe. You clearly have something to hide. It was infuriating. She'd weaponized the system to harass us. This was beyond personal grievances. This was trying to cast doubt on my ability to care for my own child. I contacted a lawyer seeking advice. The lawyer explained that grandparents don't have automatic visitation rights in many states, especially if the parents are fit and married. But if the grandmother kept filing false reports or harassing us, we could potentially seek a restraining order. I was relieved there was a legal path. I just needed evidence. We started saving everything. Voicemails, texts, notes from neighbors who witnessed her rants, the CPS visit documentation. If she tried to press for grandparent visitation rights legally, we'd show the judge her pattern of harassment. And if she refused to back off, we could file for a protective order to keep her away. For a while, things were quiet. Perhaps she realized CPS didn't buy her lies. But then came a new trick. She began contacting my employer, spreading gossip about my unstable home life. My boss called me in, concerned. I provided clarity. I was being harassed by my mother-in-law, who wanted access to my child. My boss was sympathetic, but I felt my career stability shaking. The fact that she dared to threaten my livelihood, it was a declaration of war. We decided enough was enough. We'd confront her directly, with witnesses and a plan. We arranged a small meeting at a neutral spot, my husband's uncle's backyard. The uncle agreed to serve as a witness, a buffer, so no one could twist events. We invited my mother-in-law, making it seem like a possible reconciliation. She arrived wearing a smug expression, probably assuming we'd beg her forgiveness. I stood under the shade of a big oak tree, holding my baby in my arms, my husband by my side. My mother-in-law approached, arms outstretched as if expecting to scoop up my child. I stepped back. Her eyes narrowed. "Let me hold him," she demanded. I shook my head. "Not after what you've done. Throwing me out pregnant, calling CPS, harassing my boss. This is not how a caring grandmother behaves." She scowled, voice dripping with entitlement. "I'm the grandmother. I can't be cut out. You don't get to make these decisions alone." She tried to push past me. My husband stepped between us. "We both make this decision," he said, "and we say no." She snorted, looking around for sympathy. The uncle just folded his arms, unimpressed. Her mask of concern slipped. "You owe me," she hissed. "After all I did for your wedding, for your early years together, I deserve respect." My husband's eyes flashed. "Respect? You threw my pregnant wife out on the street. That's what you think earns you the right to hold our baby now." She tried a different tactic, tears, but they looked forced. I panicked. I felt used. "You live under my roof." I was stressed. I almost laughed at that excuse. "We offered to pay rent. You refused. Then you called me a burden." Her face hardened again. "Maybe I wouldn't have if you'd shown proper gratitude." My husband pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and played a voicemail of her voice, screeching threats, calling me unfit, promising to ruin us if we didn't allow access. Her eyes widened. She didn't know we'd saved it. We had evidence, her messages, her CPS stunt. She crossed her arms, trying to bluff. "What's that supposed to prove?" "It proves a pattern," I said. "You've tried to weaponize the system against us. You called CPS under false pretenses. You tried to smear me at work. If you think any court would grant you rights after seeing this, you're mistaken." She opened her mouth to retort, but my husband cut her off. "We met with a lawyer. You have no grounds for forced visitation. If you continue harassing us, we will file for a restraining order. That means zero contact, no matter what you want." Her face twisted. "You wouldn't dare." I held my baby closer, feeling his warmth, his presence giving me courage. "We dare," I said. "You have one chance to end this. Back off. Stop the rumors, the calls, the harassment. Or we involve the courts." She tried one last dirty trick. "I'll go to the media. Tell them my grandson is being kept away. People will judge you." My husband smirked. "We'll show them these recordings." We have proof. You'll look foolish and cruel." For the first time, she looked scared. We stood there, holding our ground. The air felt charged, every second drawn tight. My mother-in-law's bravado crumbled. She had no leverage now. No lies, no intimidation could fix the trap she'd set for herself. Her eyes darted from my husband to the uncle, then back to me. She must have realized she'd lost. Still, she tried to wring out something. I only did this because I love my family." My husband shook his head slowly. "That's not love. Love doesn't involve threatening calls, false CPS reports, or trying to sabotage someone's job." The uncle stepped forward and simply said, "It's time for you to leave." My mother-in-law looked at him as if betrayed, but he was done enabling her. Without another word, she turned and stormed off, her footsteps crunching the grass. We didn't follow. After that confrontation, we took immediate steps. My lawyer helped file a restraining order request. We presented the voicemails, the CPS visit documentation, the harassment at my workplace. The judge granted a temporary restraining order while reviewing the case. My mother-in-law was served notice. She tried to call again, blocked. She tried to show up at my workplace. Security had her removed. When the court date arrived a couple of weeks later, she appeared with a sour expression, no fancy lawyer to back her. The judge, after reviewing evidence, made it official. She had to stay away, no contact, or face legal consequences. No grandmother's rights would override the clear harassment and attempts to harm our stability. The look on her face in that courtroom was priceless. Outrage colliding with helplessness. She'd wanted to break our resolve, force her way into our child's life by any means necessary. Instead, she ended up legally barred from even approaching us. That was the revenge, the justice I needed. I didn't scream at her. I didn't stoop to her level. I let the law and her own dirty tricks bury her credibility. Over time, the rumors faded. Neighbors learned the truth. Distant relatives who once doubted us sent quiet apologies. My boss, relieved-eyed, resolved the harassment, trusted my professionalism more than ever. And my husband and I got to raise our son peacefully. We focused on building a life in our little house, enjoying quiet weekends in the backyard, watching our baby discover the world. Without her lurking presence, we could finally breathe. Looking back, I'm not proud this had to get so nasty, but I won't apologize for defending my family. Standing up to someone who saw me as disposable and my child as a bargaining chip was necessary. I learned a harsh truth. Entitlement and manipulation have no place in a healthy family. If someone wants respect, they must act accordingly, not demand it at the expense of others. If you found this story eye-opening and want more tales of outsmarting entitled troublemakers, hit that subscribe button. The next storm's always brewing, and you won't want to miss it.